we're in for a very interesting discussion with none other than the very fast racing Mr. Narain Karthikeyan. He's not just a racer, which has been, of course, a very illustrative part of his career, but he's also an entrepreneur. And I think to be able to switch careers is really a big thing, Mr. Karthikeyan. And for most people, building one career is difficult, and you've built two. So, I think kudos to you for being able to do it. But, do you think being a racer, being a Formula One participant, it helped you somewhere to sort of build your entrepreneurial journey, some learnings that you took from there which served you well here?
Yeah, good evening everyone. Thanks for having me here today. But I come from a family of entrepreneurs, but I chose my own path. I became a sports person, and in 2005 I became India's first Formula One driver. Of course, from then onwards, for nearly 2.5 decades, I've been connected with the automotive ecosystem. Working with manufacturers and so on through Formula One. And of course, Formula One is a business, so there are a lot of parallels which are so useful in running a platform such as DriveX, a pre-owned two-wheeler mobility platform. So yes, a lot about teamwork, a lot about innovation, a lot about multitasking, a lot about taking decisions at the right time, and all these factors have helped me to understand business for a long period of time. And that's how, because of the tailwinds of COVID, we wanted to build an affordable mobility platform. And in 2020 April, we launched DriveX as a subscription and a lease platform. Of course, since then we've pivoted and there have been a lot of iterations, and finally, we are a two-wheeler pre-owned retail platform. We want to move our journey so far has been digitalizing the space. Largely, it's a broker-driven kind of a business. So it's a very tough puzzle to crack, and but we've come a long way since April 2020.
Yeah, but you pretty much started it during the COVID time. So so what kind of pivots did you have to make at that time in order to be sort of take the environment that we were in at that point?
Yeah, I think the business model itself was very different then and now different now. At that time they needed to be quick fixes on mobility, because everyone wanted the personal mobility, and no one wanted to travel on public transport and so on. Yeah, and shared. So it became quickly evident that this platform, the pre-owned two-wheeler market itself, is very, very large in India. 23 million units are transacted per year. So, we kind of then saw all the pain points of the customers. And in any second-hand or pre-owned business, especially the B2C one like we run, emphasis on, the creation of how do you create trust with the customer, end customer. So that has been the focus. Right. So we have our own refurb centers and so on. Of course, everything for scalability, from a scalability point of view, the platform had to be digitalized, and we daily innovate. And also the innovations are largely because I was exposed to a lot of technology back in Formula One. So from a refurb point of view, the concepts what I learned is very relevant today.
Absolutely. And today when consumer in India is becoming so digitally savvy, and people want digital experiences to be getting better, and we're already seeing a lot of work happening that all across. So what are you doing at DriveX in order to achieve that?
So yeah, of course, we have a digital team. Of course, they play a very vital role in this platform. And it's been a tough journey because any B2C product, when you digitalize, has its own challenges, especially in a market like India, and what we are doing. But we've been able to innovate regularly, and we've just rolled out self for the first time. No pre-owned industry in the automotive industry has a self-evaluating tool. So that's a consumer-facing tool, which kind of helps us to give a better understanding of what the second-hand price of the product will be in the market and so on. So these are all innovations which we keep trying to do, and digital first is something that is key for our success.
So, in international market, we're already seeing a Formula E getting developed. And do you see in India has a future for, we perhaps one of the early adopters of the EV space here in India. You have a startup which is on the used car mobility in EV space. So, but, do you think that will sort of lead to bigger, better adoption of EV and more main cult and mainstream of EV business?
Yeah, of course, Formula E has been, I think, was rolled out in 2014 with the first season, 10 seasons, 8 manufacturers. So the traction is getting, a lot more. But the technology as well. Why Formula racing? Because, the ability to make better EV cars, the technology that in a racing environment, of course, there's a waterfall effect to your everyday bikes and cars and so on. So yes, it is catching up quickly, but the excitement is, not as, the noise, and there are many things which are lacking compared to Formula 1. But there is an audience, there are manufacturers, so in the years to come, it will grow. But it's a major R&D platform, and the constant technology, by every weekend it kind of evolves. So that all of that is very exciting for sure.
Sure. We're happy to take questions also for Mr. Narain. So please give us a show of hands as we are having this talk, and we can probably include your questions within this talk itself. But overall, do you think, as you said, the technology is changing very fast and the EV space itself is evolving. So what do you think is going to be the next and new of the mobility space here in India?
Absolutely. The shared mobility is going to be a very interesting space to watch. Of course, the EV, the battery technology itself, because of the scale, it will get much more economical, and the technology, the battery technology itself is changing. So all of these factors will help EVs, penetrate more in India kind of markets. But the ICE is going to stay here for a long time because of the, there is no range anxiety, there is a residual value. So a lot of things to be solved. We're still, far away to become a mature EV market like some countries in Europe. But of course, all the urban, urbanization is happening, and people are aware of what an EV can do in terms of cost, in terms of being more clean and so on. So India will also adapt, but in a phased manner, I would imagine. Yeah.
Sure. And when you say about, particularly at DriveX, since you're more in the used car segment, where do you see better adoption of used cars in EV in India? So in terms of your scaling up, which cities are you, or which states are you seeing early adoption happening, and where do you want to expand further?
So, we're constantly speaking to all the manufacturers to collaborate and see if we can start a pre-owned two-wheeler segment in the EV space. So we are speaking, but in terms of what we call repowering, there are a few challenges, especially with the older vehicles, the battery management system, the thermal management, all of these things because of the older technology, mostly from China. This is for us to put it back in a pre-owned space is a challenge. But having said that, volumes are getting bigger. The vehicles are coming into the used segment now. So we are trying to work with the manufacturers to see if how quickly we may be able to get this vertical going.
Sure. Since you mentioned about working with the manufacturers, do you think there are also challenges at the manufacturers' end to be able to reproduce or, to be able to get that kind of technology which really which will help to become more, EV become more mainstream, still a challenge? And how do you think these challenges can be mitigated even at the back end?
I think absolutely you're right. It's a challenge, but a lot of the manufacturers have limited capacity right now. TVS, Bajaj, and the other manufacturers, they have what is challenging for them is to produce the numbers. So again, an EV still is the price point is quite high, but all of that is changing constantly. And of course, our government has this big EV push. So the adaptation, the infrastructure, everything is evolving as we speak every day. Right. So the manufacturers themselves will at some point have a huge pivot and of manufacturing more numbers and setting up the lines to cater to the demands. And lastly, I would say that the battery technology from the existing one is also changing constantly, and there will be a point where it will become a lot more affordable in the very, very near future. So the space is it's not the same as what it was last week. It keeps changing so quickly. Yeah.
Are you planning to sort of also become more consumer facing in terms of putting EV dealerships or centers where people can just go outrightly and purchase a used mobility?
So we have some exchange offers as DriveX with some of the manufacturers, and our vision is to dedicate our DriveX technology centers, at least some of the some of it as a repowering center, for which we are working. We have a small team. We are trying to get these EVs. But as I told you earlier, the challenges is the technology. The older technology is much more difficult to kind of get it into a efficiency which the
user
consumer,
the user is looking at.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Happy to take questions from our audience. But I have one final question from you before we go ahead. You said about the technology being difficult to crack, particularly when it's a used vehicle. So what, while the idea is not to really discuss pricing here, but what is it that the consumer is comfortable with in terms of the price bracket for buying a used EV vehicle?
Well, the consumer doesn't mind paying a little bit more because the running cost of a EV compared to an ICE is lesser. But to get that balance is what is especially in the used market. That is where we find this as a challenge right now. But as the numbers of EVs increase on our roads, this challenge also will come down drastically, because there is innovation happening all the time. And there will be a balance, and at some point it will pivot, and it'll be a no-brainer for the consumer, especially in the used market, to go for a EV rather than a similar ICE.
Is the EMI model as rampant in the used EV market as we see it in the ICE market?
This is also a challenge. So this is more and more. I think the ways of getting this hurdle will evolve in a matter of I would say months.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big space, and probably for a country like India, where pollution is anyway such a huge challenge, I think EV is really the way forward on the roads for a lot of startups. We've seen so much funding move into the EV startups in the last few years, and do you think that trend will continue?
Yeah, for good technology, always funding will be available. But earlier on, we saw a lot of mediocre, Chinese technology flowing through this space. But now of course, the investors are more wary of this, and yes, there needs to be, cutting edge technology, which always will attract the good investors. Yeah, for sure.
Hi. Everybody will talk about traffic jams, pollutions, this, that nonsense, no doubt. But the thing is, we no need to invent wheel. Wheels are already invented. Before my grandfather was born, the outdated timing, red signal, orange signal, green signal is there. Now Bengaluru, if you take, I am sorry, I am speaking just from open heart because I stuck in traffic in Bengaluru, and today, because one day I stuck in traffic in Bengaluru, today, fast forward 12 years, I am operating for 18 plus countries and 90 customers. 2065, how the roads and infrastructure to be in place, for that we are giving data.
Can
Now,
we please come to the question? We'll be short
now,
on time.
vehicle actuated counts is happening in Bengaluru. Manual counts is happening, manual control is happening in Bengaluru. That is not correct. Shared mobility, that is not correct. Why I have BMW X5? I don't have, just I'm telling. If I have my BMW, why I will take BMTC bus? My request is, through this platform, we can convert complete Bengaluru 4000 signalized intersections under single lens, which is called AI, pollution. How much time waiting for a vehicle? Sir, even we can reduce the pollution. I want no questions. I want to tell that through this platform.
Thank you. We are taking questions right now. We'll come back to this later. Yes, please.
Narainji and Ritu Madam, it was a very candid discussion. Nice to see Narainji. And Narainji, you mentioned that you had two passions. One is automobile and entrepreneurship, and one is driving the automobile more effectively than many of us. Now, in DriveX, you are dealing with the automobiles and, different things you are doing. What else you are doing to the youngsters? Because you have been inspiration for many youngsters in the racing. I think along with DriveX, you can inculcate the racing training for our youngsters or younger generation of people. Anything from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. From we constantly, promote safety mainly for two-wheelers, because as the other gentleman mentioned, in Bangalore, any city for that matter, we have roads are probably getting better. The vehicles, the cars and bikes are getting faster, but our civic sense of riding and driving is still a little bit not in the same. The progress is not the same, right? So hopefully, what I'm trying to do, we have a test track in Coimbatore, so we're trying to educate riders and drivers to be more safe in a controlled environment, and then, adhere to the rules, so that, they become better, at riding and driving, not only in a racetrack, but, outside of it as well. So this is something from my experience I'd like to share, and this is just we are at a very nascent stage, but as we go forward, we have a lot of announcements to make in this, in this space. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm a professor in a business school. Sir, first thing is thank you so much for honoring India, honoring us, sir. We are proud of you. And second thing, I'm a big fan of you, 90s.
Thank you.
I still have a picture. Okay. Why I'm saying this, my daughter is a badminton player. I still show you a picture, and I still remember the dress code and the Formula 1. Thanks, sir. And the question is, yeah, ma'am, straight to the question. The question is sir, I'm from a technology background. Sir, why we are not adopting hydrogen cars And second thing is like, why there is no hybrid between electrical vehicle and also with the solar one. So why we are not adopting? I don't see any of the hybrid technology coming up with the solar and the this one. And also I want to say I came from an oil and gas field because I see there is a depletion of crude oil. I worked in Halliburton, so I know about the crude oil and all the things are happening. Before it was an option. Now we have to do it because we need to take care of the next generations, right? So please advise this, throw us light on this, sir.
So I think for your first question, why not adaptation to hydrogen-powered vehicles? I think one is again a different type of technology. This is again very rampant in Japan. They are adapting quite well. I think as a manufacturer, Toyota has taken the first steps to get into ICE but powered by hydrogen, hydrogen-powered ICE vehicles.
Okay.
So it gives you the same kind of much cleaner, but the same the purity of driving a ICE vehicle. That's the concept. But hybrid technology in terms, there are gasoline-powered vehicles with hybrid technology, but I think to your question, mainly there are a lot of vehicles which are present, but the technology itself to make it commercially, it might be very expensive right now.
Okay.
But over the years, again, everything will change. Yes.
So it won't be like a viable product as of now, maybe to the go-to-market strategy, right? Because
I
why
think
this question
absolutely,
is,
that's what I feel. Yeah.
So why this question is like, I see in Europe mostly people are diverted into hydrogen car because I have a friend there. She said like hydrogen is more good but expensive in terms of the cost factors, and if you consider about the other scenarios, I came to know that it's quite expensive. That may be the reason. And sir, one thing, sir, when we are digging,
I'll have to really stop this.
last thing, ma'am. Sir, when I am in a drilling field, we dig earth and we screw our mother earth. Now again battery, again it comes from the earth, sir. What is any other way to find to help our motherland? Anyway, we are digging ground, sir. So any other?
So you're saying we are just delaying the problem?
Yeah, delaying the things.
But of course, there will be again. If you see the battery technology over the last decade has evolved, so the recycling technology also will. So there's always hope, right? That's why there are so many innovations happening. But I definitely believe in hydrogen technology because it's much more cleaner, and there are many challenges. One is cost.
Okay.
One is the other factor is, I believe, the volatility and so on. So once these are addressed, I think this is the cleanest form of energy.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll give one to the lady over there. Please pass on the mic to her in the.
Hello. My question is with respect to your company, in used leased vehicles, what is the technology that you are using in order to detect the abuse of the vehicle? Because it's very difficult to control the behavior of the user. So what all measures you are taking in order to detect what kind of abusive conditions the vehicle has gone into?
So at DriveX, we believe outsourcing refurb was not the way to go. So we have our own refurb centers where right now we operate 2, and the third one is being built. Of course, we have our 120-point check, so we go through everything. Our tagline is as good as new. So we tend to review this, and we tend to want to stick to our our core sense that this vehicle will be as good as a new vehicle. So we do a thorough. Of course, servicing is one part, but refurb is we have OES parts which we use and so on. So we tend to produce very, very high quality vehicles every time. So it's a new platform. As I told you earlier, trust with the consumer is a key factor for us being successful. So we're doing going up, doing all it takes to get this right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I think there was one more question. Yes, sir. Last question for the day here. Can you give him another mic, please?
Hello, sir. I just have one question. Do you miss racetrack?
I mean, it is the most exciting sport for sure. I miss, but all athletes have a shelf life, and COVID happened. I was racing until then, but then what do you do after? So as I told you earlier, when the ecosystem, the automotive ecosystem is very close to my heart. I have a lot of people in the industry who I know. So if I were to become an entrepreneur, it was always going to be something related with auto. So, that's how I, after my racing, this is how I got into entrepreneurship.
Let's say there is an option on the racetrack. There is one EV vehicle and there is a roaring V12 engine combustion vehicle. Which one would you pick?
What do you think? Thank you.
I think
Thank you very
V12.
much.
Do you think we should start a Formula E League in India also, build a team like an IPL?
Too early, I think. I think it's too early because you need the return on investments as a sporting platform. I think won't be there right now, but never say never. Formula One has come to India, so why not have our own Formula E League at some point?
Absolutely, and I'm into that. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Karthikeyan.
Thank you very much.
A huge round of
Thank you.
applause for
Thank
Mr.
you.
Narain.